It is, what is it? It's Sunday, April 14th, 2024. Hope everyone is having a good evening. Let's get this a little more stable. As stable as we ever get, guys. So it seems that I was experiencing some technical issues earlier today. We'll see. Everything seems out of sync. What do you guys think? I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how everything proceeds. I couldn't read everyone's comments earlier today. So maybe it's my phone. It also seems like there's a delay as I'm looking at it. Maybe not. So anyway, again, maybe things will be a little bit better. We'll see how things proceed. I really need to get my new phone set up. I've had it for several months and I got it. This phone is having some issues, but I never did anything with my new phone. I do want to talk a little bit about YouTube, about content creation, about what I'm doing here, about my limitations of what I can do here, how I would like to proceed. I started something new, reading from my blog. I did this once before, several times. I used to do it I actually started reading from my blog very, very early in my YouTube channel. And then it switched sort of over to meditation and then the burpees, and then it's been expanding. And I'm actually happy with the expansion. I'm also given a lot of great constructive criticism, how to make things more presentable, edit things. And I'm going to be honest, I doubt I'm going to do any of that. I don't know if I've edited anything in my life, ever. And don't know as I'm going to start now, at the age of almost 59. 3 more days. Wednesday. Not so much because I'm stubborn. I like staying in motion. I like putting everything into one shot and then moving on. There's a lot to be said for editing. There's a lot to be said for all the stuff that people do to create wonderful content. I don't consider myself a content creator nor a social media influencer, an influencer of any kind, social or otherwise. What I do is, I don't know. I don't know what has a label. So it's going to be raw. It's probably not going to attract a whole lot of people. I think that's kind of fine. I think that sometimes we need to, one, be ourselves. I think we always need to be ourselves. We always need to be authentic. But I also think that we need to maybe let things alone. Not everything needs to be shiny and glossy. Is that the same thing? Can you be shiny and not glossy? Can you be glossy without being shiny? I don't know. Not everything needs to capture everyone's attention. Sometimes it's best to stumble upon something. And maybe somewhere in all the stuff that I do, there'll be a hidden gem of just what someone needs to hear or see or experience, and it might make a difference. They might hear me say, hey, always be authentic. Or hey, it's okay to do things not so perfectly. Not everything needs to meet that high expectations of the algorithm gods or anyone's expectations, not even your own. An expectation is a thought. Our expectations are simply a collection of thoughts. Thoughts are valuable, but they're fleeting. They don't have substance until we keep repeating them. That's when we get the samskaras, those mental and emotional imprints that we end up acting upon for the rest of our lives. Samskaras can be good things, but a lot of times, maybe most often the time, they're not so good things because we're no longer aware that we're simply playing a pattern, that we are not being our true, authentic selves. We're being a pattern that was created by repetition, and mostly by repetitions of thoughts that aren't even our own. We've inherited them. And so here we are, believing, again, that everything needs to be shiny, needs to immediately grab our attention, or we pass it by. Explore the unknown. Explore what seems ugly. Explore the tangles. Explore those things that might seem curious, but they're not so shiny. They're not so glossy. You don't know why it's garnering your attention, but for whatever it is. So dive in. Sometimes, they say don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes, judge a book by its cover. Maybe it's a dark, poorly edited, torn, but maybe it has something valuable in it. So I'm going to continue to muddle through, and it is certainly muddling. I don't know how that, I like to call it lyrical prose, my writing style now, how it's evolved. I don't know how that's going to go on YouTube. Non-edited, completely non-edited, no catchy thumbnail, no reason the algorithm should give it any notice whatsoever. But I think, you know what? That's the difference between a content creator and just a plain old creator. I think you're better off being, well, I don't know what I think. And it doesn't matter what I think. For me, I'm just a creator. Content happens on its own. My friend Chris K is back. Hello, Chris. How are you? Any more? I was just going to ask you that. I was just going to ask you any news on your stuff. Chris says he got his stuff back. How do you approach the situation? So I hear people. I've mentioned gamers quite a bit, and I've heard people sort of dismiss gaming channels, and I sort of did too. And I mentioned before what a mistake that was on my part. That I was listening to my patterns in my head. I was listening to my own algorithms saying pass it by, pass it by. Makes me wonder what else in life I've missed out on because those internal algorithms have steered me in a particular direction. Unfortunately, how many great books have I might have missed? How many great movies? How many great people? And then how many YouTube channels have I missed because my internal algorithm matches the external algorithm of the YouTubes? Kind of ridiculous to live our life that way. Sometimes, and I've been using that word often, maybe we should act upon our impulses. And I think when we get to be a little more through the practice of meditation, through the practice of breath work, through the practice of the asanas in yoga, that those impulses turn to be more intuitive hunches. We're not acting on an impulse, we're acting on an urge, that the heart center is steering us in this particular direction. And it may be the opposite direction of what every single algorithm in the world is trying to get us to do. Chris says, the people there didn't want to give them to me and wanted to fight, but I explained to them I wasn't into fighting anymore and one of them give me back my stuff. That's amazing. One, man, I'm really glad you got your stuff back, especially your grandfather's pistol. And what an amazing approach to go there with a peaceful intent. You just wanted your stuff, and the fact that though they wanted to fight, somehow your intent reached these people or reached one person, and they replied in turn. I'm glad it turned out that way, and I'm really glad you got your stuff back, my friend. So, yeah, I've gotten some great advice on how to please the algorithm gods. And once again, I doubt that I'm going to take it. Maybe out of sheer laziness. Maybe that's why I don't edit anything. But imagine, I don't know. Let's look this up. I like the Zen approach of wabi sabi. The inherent perfection admits the imperfections, the crack within the beauty. As Leonard Cohen said, the great Canadian songwriter, everything has a crack in it because that's how the light gets in. I would say let your cracks show, but that sounds kind of off. So let's scratch that. If I was of the editing kind, I'd go back and edit that out. Chris said, I told them that I have moved on and that they should do the same. Well, you know, I'll tell you what, it takes a strong stance. It takes a strong internal stance to hold your ground that way. They obviously know that you're capable of fighting and that you will if you had to, but that you wanted to choose peace. That was the option that you were putting on the table. Let's do this a peaceful way. I don't want to fight. But they know you, and they know that you will. And they saw the fact that you were willing to take that stance. So I could consider that a milestone, I think. Chris said, also, I've moved so much that in 3 weeks, getting married with the love of my life. Perfect. Really happy to hear that. And man, to get to that place, you really do have to give yourself, you have to surrender to life. Life is moving on. Life is never static. We're always in the midst of another season. We're always in the midst of a moment ending and becoming another moment. My friend, the author Robert Saltzman, calls it a once upon. It's just how life continuously flows. So there's no need to ever be stuck. Because literally, you can't. Your every cell is being replaced, is in the process of being replaced. That we're trading molecules back and forth with other beings. That we're breathing in recycled air. Nothing is static. Not even our thoughts. The thought of I am stuck is not the same thought of I am stuck that I just said. These are two different thoughts happening at two different times. And quite literally, there is no I to ever be stuck. The I is just a thought. So, wabi sabi. the Japanese art of impermanence, although it's sort of has morphed into that the art of imperfection, but it's sort of the same. Taken from the Japanese words rabi, which translates to less is more, and sabi, which means attentive melancholy. I like that. Wabi sabi refers to an awareness of the transient nature of earthly things and a corresponding pleasure in the things that bear the mark of this impermanence. So, man, I'm okay putting out imperfect YouTube videos. I'm okay with my YouTube shorts being a little shaky. We got a handheld camera. The wind blows. The bird is moving. If I counted the syllables, that might be a haiku. But I didn't bother to count the syllables, and I'm not going to now. Let me offer big congratulations to our friend Chris K on where he is in his life right now. To me, man, that marks what we're talking about right here. The art of impermanence. That Chris K has ended part of his life, the part that where he might have fought to get his stuff back, to this new, more awake, more aware, in love stance. Congratulations to you, my friend. Let's continue down this path. So we have, hey, our friend Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, is here with her brand new wrench. You know what, Destiny? I can't tell you how much it pleases me to see your name in blue. Makes me feel good. Destiny is saying hello to Chris, and Chris says hello back. Hey, our friend Noble Swirling Traveler is here, who is also in blue. Last I checked, we had the exact same amount of subscribers. Wow. I got to say, in all honesty, you deserve every single one of them. And I think you probably deserve every single one of mine. The best natured videos, the best natured channel, the best natured live stream on all of the YouTubes, by far. It's a welcoming place. If you go to Noble's live stream, you are welcomed. You're treated like you went to high school with Noble. Welcomes you in, pours you a beer. If you don't drink, that's fine. I'll give you a glass of water. Let's see. Noble saying hi to Destiny. Noble says, you have the best nature YouTube. Thank you. Chris is saying hi to Noble. You know what? I'm going to disagree. This is what I've been talking about. Been talking with Chris about the amazing turn his life has taken. But I've also been talking about YouTube, algorithms, creativity, content creator, all that stuff. I've been getting some really good advice from excellent content creators. We've reached out and said, you gotta edit. You gotta put some theme music. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I appreciate all of it, and I'm not gonna do any of it. One, despite the burpees, despite the meditation and the walking and the yoga, all the stuff that I do every day, I think I'm inherently lazy. And two, as I've been saying, I don't want to please the algorithm gods. I sort of do, but I don't. I want someone to stumble across me. I'm going to be that old tattered book in a used bookstore that someone inadvertently knocks over and picks up and says, huh, there's something there. You know, that's why right now I'm reading about Wabi Sabi. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to that. The definition translates to, refers to an awareness of the transient nature of earthly things and a corresponding pleasure in the things that bear the mark of this impermanence. I certainly bear the marks of impermanence. I don't look the way I used to, and I'm never going to again. How I look right now, I'm never going to look the way again. You know what? I want to allow life to leave me tattered, and for people to see it, the people to see my glaring mistakes, my awkwardness, my shining bald head, and the glasses that have a light reflection in them. I want to be authentic. I want to be me, because I can't be anything else. Let's see. Chris is saying hi to Noble. Noble says that he is doing great. Of course he is. You know, I know Noble has a bad day, because everyone does. But I don't think Noble has ever let a bad day affect him. Buddha doesn't know it, or Noble doesn't know it, but he's a Buddha in disguise. He's a yogi in disguise. And of course, the Buddha was a yogi. Noble says, Destiny, you are fantastic at your movement. I checked out your channel. Did you check out the 76 burpees that she did? Absolutely amazing. In honor of our friend Louise, who did 1,000 burpees. No, I see Brian Lane hanging out on your live stream, and I think that's absolutely awesome. I love these connections. Our friend UK Medic is here and graciously says, I will help edit for you. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I might take you up on that, only because I really appreciate your skill and the kindness of your gesture. And it seems like it would be, I don't know. I'm sort of intuitively, I feel that I love the energy that you put into your stuff, Medic. Noble says, your birds are fantastic. Thank you. You know, and I was talking about that. I got a little handheld camera that I absolutely love. Birthday present from Oka. Early birthday present. The wind blows, branches sway, my hand moves around, the birds move around, the squirrels jump around. Nature's active. I'm not interested in the perfect shot. I'm interested in being a participant in what I see. I'm interested in getting all quantum physics on it, of the observer merging into the observed. One thing. Destiny says, Eric, do you know Tuber Chat? Connect and Grow. I sent you a tag earlier. Hope you would join in the live stream. Awesome channel to help creators and grow their channels and swoop their playlists. I did see, and I believe I thanked you, and I did subscribe and went over and said hi, chatted with a few people. I like it. Man, he's quick. He is, when I visit Masha, when I go to Mayhem and Miracles, it's like I'm hanging out in her living room. And I absolutely like that. And I've made some invaluable friends with Masha. When I went to Tuber Chat, all business, snap, 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 in a good way, in a really good way. I love everyone's different approaches to how they do things. You know, I really like James Geit, and puts his head down, comments, but he's very sincere in what he does. Sorry, my cat is here. My office is a mess, but I don't know. I don't know if you guys caught sight of my cat or not. Everyone deserves to meet my cat, and my cat deserves to meet every one of you. Destiny is saying hello to Medic. Medic says, I've just hit 5K with 900 uploads and 350,000 views. Wow. Excellent work. How long have you been at this, Medic? I really need to pay a little more attention to my analytics. So, as for editing, I don't know if I've come across any better than Medic. Medic is saying hi to Destiny. Chris says, why are some people's names in blue? Because they have wrenches, which means that they act as moderators. I don't think I'm going to be, one of the connector channels. Probably, it might just be too small for that. But I really hope that the people who come and spend time here do get to know each other and spend time on each other's channels. Everyone has so much to offer. And that's been the big thing that I've been talking about tonight is, man, just be authentic in what you offer, whatever it is. If you're by nature a very meticulous person who loves to get elbow deep in the process, do that. That's your energy. That's a wonderful thing. If you're not, and you want to be, you can learn. If you don't want to, don't let that stop you from being creative. It is the principle. Let's go back to the art of wabi, W-A-B-I, sabi, S-A-B-I. It's more known in the West. In the West, it's thought of less as the inherent impermanence of things, as it is thinking of the cracks within beauty, that it's the flaw, something that's broken, a teacup that has its handle glued on that becomes your favorite. The beauty within the broken. I don't know anyone in life, I don't know anyone that life hasn't somehow left them broken, never truly healed. I think we're always healing, if that makes sense. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of life. It's temporary. Enjoy what we have right now while we have it. And then enjoy what's next, whatever that might be. So I'm coming to terms with my YouTube limitations. And within those limitations, I want to allow the fullness of my expression. Sort of a paradox. Destiny is congratulating Medic. That is awesome. That is awesome. Keep growing. It is awesome. Medic says, well, I can create a banner for your channel and a channel intro video. Man, that would be awesome. Absolutely awesome. And of course, I would be happy to repay you in any way that I can. Absolutely amazing. Medic has been 2 years active on YouTube, May 11th. Chris K says, nice cat. Good, I'm glad you saw it. And what's the cat name? We have 2 black cats. One is the black cat and the other is the other black cat. Sometimes I get them confused. The only cat I've ever really named was Copper, and because it was copper colored. I always figured, you know, cats have their own names they call each other. They don't need me to correct them and call them something else as well. Although it is true that they recognize their names. So my cats are probably internally confused as to, am I the black cat or am I the other black cat? Destiny says, Chris K, the blue names and wrenches are the moderators. Thank you, Destiny. Tori is here. The cat standing on business. You heard? I'm not sure. Cats do what cats do. Eckhart Tolle said that I've met several Zen masters in my life, and they've all been cats. I'm firmly convinced that Misty, the Pomsky is a Pomeranian Husky mix, and that is the dog that decided when she was a puppy that Milka was her person. Milka had no choice but to bring her home. Fully convinced that Misty is a Zen master. Internally happy, instantly forgiving. Destiny says, welcome in everybody, and please remember to hit the like button and share out the hosts. Thank you. Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate that. Destiny says, hello, Tori. Welcome to our fellowship of beingness, where people love and grow into a family. And that has certainly been the case. Destiny gives a big thumbs up. Hey, so, well, I have everyone here. Who else has a pet? Anyone have a dog? Anyone else have cats? Anyone have fishes? Chris says, in order to say which cat is the black cat and which is the other black cat, you should find differences between them. One is smaller and bigger. The other's bigger, of course. One doesn't like coming upstairs. They're sisters, actually. 12 years old. I've had them for 2 years. I got them from a shelter. And yeah, for some reason, the little one doesn't like coming upstairs. She loves to do yoga with me. The yoga mat, for some reason, is her thing. And this cat likes to hang out in my office and my bedroom. Sleeps on the bed as I sleep. So, yeah, technically I could say I have office cat and a yogi cat. Chris K says that he has a rabbit. Man, I love rabbits. I recently wrote about rabbits, what they mean to me. Have you guys ever seen the movie, the Jimmy Stewart movie, Harvey? Jimmy Stewart was best friends, drinking companions with a 6-foot tall rabbit The rabbit was a puka. Puka is a Celtic trickster spirit, much the same way that the coyote is a trickster spirit in North American Native American tribes. Um, and I love that thought. And I love that movie, Harvey. I talk about I talked about this the other night, how at a certain age, maybe 11 or 12 years old, we start moving on to being busy. We start embracing the busyness of life. We grow up. We put those, what we consider, childish things away. And that includes, to a large extent, our imagination and our belief in magic. Or maybe I should say, our belief in a magical universe. Teenagers, dating, cars, high school, college, that's the stuff we start thinking about, and we become disenchanted with the magic of ordinary life. Anthony de Mello, the great Jesuit priest, who was East Indian and grew up as in the yogic tradition before he turned to Christianity and became a Jesuit priest, but he maintained that the yogic and Buddhist, the universal language of mystics, tells a story that once when we were kids and we would look into the air and we would see magically winged creatures soaring around doing all kinds of tricks. And it was completely magical until a well-meaning adult came by and said, "Oh, it's a sparrow." Instantly the magic was lost. We no longer saw magic, we saw a sparrow. We had a label. We put a label on something magical. That's how life proceeds, perfectly natural. But losing that magic isn't natural. So Harvey, I saw that movie, I must have been 11 or 12, small, staying up late. I wasn't supposed to. For whatever reason, I couldn't sleep. I had my small black and white television on with the antennas, aluminum foil on the rabbit ears. And I saw Harvey. I learned about pukas, and it was re-enchantment. Part of me started believing in magic again, or hoping that magic was real, or hoping that I wouldn't lose that magical quality of life, and I was able to maintain it. The right message at the right time comes always if we're open to it. Let's see. Destiny says, I don't have any house pets, but I'm always around the animals that's out in nature. As well as trees. Destiny has a deep, deep friendship with trees. Chris K says, what time it is it there? It is 5, about maybe 5:45 here. Chris says here it is 0046. Chris K, where are you located, if you don't mind me asking? And if you don't want to reply, that's absolutely fine. I'm taking my little melatonin, and I've explained this before, ashwagandha, which is an Ayurvedic herb. It helps prepare for sleep. Doesn't really make you sleepy, but it puts that body in an easier state. And then about maybe about an hour from now, I do some specific breath work that, that's right. You did tell me that you were in Greece. I'm sorry, I forgot. On the subject of breath work, there's no quicker and easier way to change your energetic state, your physiological state, than just 3 minutes of breath work at the correct time of the day, the correct breath to get the results that you want. Let's see. Destiny says, welcome Greece. It is nice that we get people from all over the world stopping in. So these are the 5 teachings of Wabi Sabi. Through acceptance, we find freedom and growth. The core philosophy relates to one word, yukitomo, which means I humbly accept with an open heart. Man, what a beautiful passage. I humbly accept with an open heart. What do we accept? What do we humbly accept? Everything. Life as it is. Another word for surrender, which is one of the yogic principles. Some people don't like that term surrender, so maybe they'll like a humbly accept with an open heart. Humbly accepting with an open heart what's happening in the moment means also accepting your wish and desire for things to change. Doesn't mean you don't have to take action. Doesn't mean that you have to say, I want things to be a different way. It just means that right now, this is how things are. That's what Buddha meant about adding suffering to our lives. Grief isn't suffering. Grief is grief. And when we allow grief to happen, when we allow sorrow to happen, when we allow anger to happen, it doesn't have that psychological suffering attached to it. But when we refuse to accept it, when we push it away, when we are attached to it, when we want to stay angry, when we don't want to forgive, that's when suffering happens. One of the others, strive to be excellent instead of being perfect. That's interesting to consider. What's being excellent? How does excellent differ than perfect? Perfect has no flaws. Show me something that's perfect. Of course, we also have to consider what's the flaw. Destiny says, thanks everyone for joining. Just Yogi, Eric, for his live chat discussion. Definitely thank you, everyone. Very much appreciated, and thank you for that, Destiny. Chris K says, I have to go to sleep now. I will see you next time. Thank you, Chris. And again, congratulations on the upcoming wedding, 3 weeks. And, man, that's a big thing. Getting your stuff back without any kind of confrontation whatsoever. Take care, my friend. Destiny says, thanks for joining the chat. Chris K, good night and sleep peacefully. Number 4, the joy of life is in its simplicity. I agree with that 100%. The last one, be content at where you are now. That's considered, from this source at least, the 5 teachings of Wabi Sabi. Here's another. This is what's considered the Wabi Sabi way of life. A lifestyle of quiet, rustic simplicity, rooted in appreciating asymmetry and flaws that are found in nature, or in ourselves, or in others. I agree with that. But you know what? I think I would like to redefine the term flaw. What's a flaw? What's a flaw if you don't think about it? That's to paraphrase my friend Gilbert Schultz. He wrote a book based on the teachings of Cyril Bob Adamson. What's wrong with right now if you don't think about it? if you don't think about it. So to paraphrase that, what's a flaw if you don't think about it? To me, a flaw sounds like a judgment. Is there a flaw? Is there a flaw in the Mona Lisa smile? Is there a flaw in my smile or yours? Is it a flaw that I once had very long blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail and that I don't now? It's not a flaw. It's just how life works. So I like the original teaching up here of just being in the awareness of the transient nature of earthly things. Once I had hair, now I don't. It's not a flaw. It's actually beautiful. The fact that, life revealed me as something other than I was. Life showed me a different way of being beautiful. Life is showing you a different way of being beautiful right now. We're always allowed to redefine whatever it is that we define. This is why, I'm excited about imperfect YouTube productions. Reading from my blog, stumbling over words, blinking too many times, whatever, however it comes out. My shaky YouTube shorts, my whatever. Doesn't mean I won't try to make them better. I won't try to capture a more perfect shot of a bluebird or whatever crosses my path. But it means I'll do what I can within the moment and I'll accept the results. I'll try better next time. So I'm going to keep going through this a little bit. Eric Lapointe, who always has some excellent insights, says sometimes weakness becomes strength. So true. Very true. So continuing down the path of wabi-sabi. The heart. Remember, this is a Japanese related to a Zen view of life. That the heart of wabi-sabi comes from the tenets of Buddhism. Thus, the three marks of existence: impermanence, suffering, and not self. They're applicable to all phenomenon. The very name wabi-sabi refers to this impermanence. Impermanence is a wonderful thing, because it allows an acorn to become an oak tree. If an acorn was permanent, there wouldn't be an oak tree. Life starts to open up with that view. Becomes a little more astonishing. I have a Facebook friend, James Plath, who wrote a wonderful book, The Gospel of Astonishment. If you can live your life in astonishment, which I know so many of you do. If you see Destiny Forever Walks PhD and her approach to a tree, you see joy and astonishment. I don't think Eric Lapointe could plant as many trees as he has without being astonished every time at what's happening. Destiny says hello to Eric. And thanks for the tip on that hawk. Oh, you're welcome. I get three confused. We have the Cooper's hawk, red-tailed hawk, and the red-shouldered hawk. And they all sort of resemble each other. But Mocha has a bird app. She can take the picture or the video and it'll say what it is. Eric says hello to Destiny. Destiny says, exactly, Eric LaPointe. Many times it's our weakness that creates our greatness. This is true. And again, what actually is a weakness? It's an opinion. But is it true? If a weakness can, I agree 100% with Destiny. If a weakness can become or create our greatest strength, which we see over and over and over and over again. What was the movie? It was a movie about King George. I forget the name of it. He stuttered. Was afraid to be a public speaker. During the war, he channeled that. He was just very sincere in what he did, and it truly unified a nation. So if we examine it, what's a weakness? If it leads to our greatest strength, is it really a weakness? Or is that just how we're viewing something? We viewed it once as a weakness because we didn't see the entire picture, which we can. We never see how things unfold. We only see the unfolding. So this is one of the most common examples of wabi-sabi. Kintsugi, Japanese. I mispronounce all things Sanskrit. I'm going to mispronounce all things Japanese probably. The practice of fixing broken ceramics with golden lacquer to create beautiful, intricate patterns. Man, how beautiful is that? That you take a broken ceramic, you fix it with a golden lacquer, and it creates a whole brand new pattern. More beautiful now because of that apparent imperfection. We see that in how people age, or we used to. People grew into their beauty. They shed the glossiness of youth, which is its own form of beauty. But as we get older, we're revealed. The light of the soul shines through. All the wrinkles tell a story. The receding hairlines, the whatever's happening. That's true, deep, deep beauty. Because life led us here. Life revealed us. But it seems like it's getting harder and harder to allow ourselves to grow old. That, we have that youth culture. So in Kintsugi, again, probably mispronounced, celebrates the damage and beautifies the cracks as an important part of the item's history. If you have a wrinkle, it's an important part of your history. Eric LaPointe said, you said it best, Eric. I think we all say it together. It's the beauty of these conversations. All lending our voice to that continuous expression. Everyone adding their own little thing until we get to that insight. And here's the thing, with going back to wabi-sabi, we can't create it. We can't take a ceramic, dash it on the ground, and then glue it back together, even using golden lacquer. I mean, we could, but that changes the story. Then it becomes something that we intentionally broke in order to piece it back together. You got to allow life to break it. It's got to be an accident, if there is such a thing as an accident. Destiny says those weaknesses are fears and flaws that we shy away from, for our minds only knowing what we have been taught when we reject hearing other people's opinions of ourselves. Let's see. I think we got some more typing going on. But I agree with Destiny. Weaknesses are just our fears and flaws that we shy away from, that we disown. That's an important issue, Destiny, because you and I were talking maybe 2 weeks ago about the shadow. And when we reject those flaws, we just keep feeding the shadow, feeding the shadow. They don't disappear. Anything that you reject doesn't mean that it's not present. It just means that we're not acknowledging it. And what we don't acknowledge still shapes our life. Eric Lapointe says, I love hearing the opinions of others. That's interesting. Honestly, I honor all opinions. It seems I grow a little more disinclined, though, to... There's, I think, a difference between honoring and respecting, and I'm sort of losing the word that I'm searching for. My own example. Obviously, I have opinions and I have beliefs, but I take them very, very, very lightly because I know they're based upon thoughts. Thoughts are transient. Thoughts are just fluctuation of energy occurring in the mind, neurological spark. If I have the same one over and over again, it becomes an opinion or it becomes a belief. Doesn't mean it's true. If I examine most of my opinions, most of them aren't true, or I don't know for certain that they're true. And that brings me a whole lot of peace, especially when if I am combating my views with someone else's, my opinions against someone else's. If I hold my views lightly, what do I have to defend? Absolutely nothing. And that means, you know what? You might be right. Someone else's opinion. You might be right. I don't need to make you wrong in order for mine to be right, because mine might be wrong. Or they might change, they might be right for right now, and they might be wrong tomorrow. I don't know. They have been before. I certainly don't have the same opinions that I did when I was 16 years old. I also realized that you don't have the same opinions when you were 16. Probably not. Maybe you do. I'm sure you've added. I'm not saying you to anyone in particular, just the collective view. Our friend Brian Lane is here. Hey, Eric. Hey, Brian, how are you? Just spending some time on your channel not too long ago. I had inadvertently missed a couple. Brian says, hope you're having a great day. I am having a pretty good day. Thank you. Eric Lapointe says, it helps find the true. It does. And it does, it helps lead towards a more peaceful understanding of each other. That's for certain. Which is all important. So the only way we're going to get through life together is holding all of our beliefs. My job isn't to hold your beliefs lightly. My job is to hold my beliefs lightly. Brian says, hey to Destiny. Eric says, time makes fools of us all. It certainly does. That was well put. So I've talked before about Katie Bryan. Some people will consider Katie Bryan a modern Buddha. She came by her Buddha nature, her Buddhaist, by way of addiction, by way of having a nervous breakdown and being placed in a rehab center against her will, where she completely broke down. And instead of piecing herself together, she discovered her inherent wholeness in the space of all those broken parts, inadvertently using that concept of the Japanese art of piecing things back together again, allowing those imperfections. She discovered a method of inquiry we can use with any opinion, any belief, any thought that we have. I'll go over that in just a minute. Brian says, I'm okay, thanks. Was a bit sore for some reason. I think just doing those regular push-ups like that yesterday, work out different muscles. I know it does since I feel it. Yeah, time under tension. A lot more tension, and that'll definitely make you sore. Destiny says that's when our fears and flaws define our true selves. Anthem are we are stronger and wiser to accept our truth, and that creates our greatness. It's a wonderful way of stating it, Destiny. Destiny says, Eric, excuse the errors. My computer keeps changing words. Discard the last statement. It makes sense, though. Destiny is saying, blessings to you. And happy Sunday, Brian Lee. So these are the 4 questions. We can use it to examine anything about our lives. Is it true? Can you absolutely know for certain that it's true? That was 2 questions. First is it true? Second is, can you absolutely know for certain that it's true? Without a shadow of a doubt. Not your, I believe it's true, I think it's true. Can you know without shadow of a doubt? When people say, the flat earth believing people, the earth is flat. Is that true? And they might say, well, yes, I think it's true. Can you absolutely know for certain that it's true? And examining that, they'll say, well, I can't absolutely know for certain. That little bit of doubt changes everything, because now we're dealing with possibilities. Maybe the earth isn't flat. Maybe it's round. Maybe, as I like to think of it, it's on the back of a turtle, and another turtle, and another turtle, and it's turtles all the way down. My favorite William James story. Third, the last 2 are the most important ones, I think. How do you react? What happens when you believe that thought? If you believe the earth is flat, how do you react? You might not go on a cruise because you don't want to fall off the edge. You might live in a certain amount of fear because you believe that's true. Then the 4th question is, who would you be without that thought? You'd probably be someone who would take a cruise. You'd be a little more fearless in how you approach travel. It's a way of redefining our lives. Destiny says thumbs up, and Brian says thanks, Miss Destiny. Happy Sunday to you as well. Destiny says thanks everyone for joining the host for our live chat discussion. Brian says don't forget to like. Thank you, I appreciate that. Destiny says Brian Lane, love the quotes you share. Brian offers some really keen insights and great inspiration. Eric Lapointe says, I have never practiced yoga, but I'm at work on machines, and there's a hard bolt to get to. I call it redneck yoga. Perfect. You're a yogi after all, Eric. I've talked before with Destiny about the 4 paths of yoga. That we have Bhakti yoga, which is considered the yoga of devotion, where we surrender ourselves to something larger. We surrender ourselves to love, surrender ourselves to God, to nature, to reality. We have karma yoga, which is the yoga of motion and selfless service, where we do what we do, surrendering the results to God. We don't help others. We don't provide service to others in order to get something back. We do it for the sake of doing it. Then there is jnana yoga, which is the yoga of wisdom, insight, and self-inquiry. That's when we ask, who am I? And we don't accept any easy answer. We want to get to the point through asking that we are revealed, our reality is revealed in the silence of the asking. We don't get any answers back. And we're there. And then we have Raja Yoga, which is considered the royal path of yoga. And that's the path that has the postures, the pranayama, breathing exercises, meditation, sense withdrawal. One time or another, we can all practice all of them. So when Eric says, well, I've never practiced yoga, my thoughts are always, you haven't practiced the label yoga, but you don't plant that many trees without being a yogi. To me, that's why I love yoga so much, is because it's just open. And I've mentioned before, let's go back to Google here, Niskara yoga. Niskara yoga is, Niskara means natural. And it is the path Nisargadatta Maharaj has taught. And this is when here are the 7 principles of Niskara yoga. Non-identification and right understanding. Meaning that you understand life is motion. You understand the way life just appears. Interest and earnestness. Being curious. Spontaneity and effortlessness. I love that part. Attentiveness to being, right action, going within to go beyond, and awareness of self. Got a thumbs up from Eric Lapointe, and Brian says, yeah, it's actually getting hot outside here, and today was feeling like not doing much. Don't know if it was from working outside yesterday. Sometimes it's hard when the weather changes, seems kind of quickly. Like yesterday was on the cool side. It was cool and rainy all week. Tomorrow is going to be, I think, 81 degrees. Just the body has to go through that adjustment. Destiny says, thanks everyone for lending your love and support to Eric, just Yogi, doing burpees in his basement. Eric truly appreciates your presence here and your participation in the chat. I definitely do. Very much appreciated. I honestly think I love doing burpees in my basement, but the live sessions, it's where the energy is. You know, get to interact with people, get to learn new things, see things through another's perspective. We get to feed each other our creativity. Always come away inspired by these live streams. Brian says, but I still managed to get a workout in. Wouldn't let it stop me, but it did stop me from going to the park. Hey, you got your reps in. That's what counts. Thumbs up from Destiny, and Brian says, you're welcome. We were talking about pets earlier. I want to mention Brian Lane has 2 turtles. There was a wonderful book. Man, this might have been in the 1970s. Kinship with All Life. A Kinship with All Life. And it talks of a man who developed a relationship with a housefly. You wouldn't think it was possible, but it's possible. When I see the love that Brian has for his turtles. It's apparent. It's amazing. It's deep. But here's the amazing thing that people might not have considered. You can clearly see the love and affection that the turtles have for Brian. Across species. Doesn't matter. Love is all abiding. I want to look up the author. A Kinship with All Life by J. Allen Boone. Highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to have to order myself a copy. It's probably been 20 years since I've read it. Destiny says, I appreciate you, Eric M., and all the amazing family here. My duties are calling me. I will see you next time. Blessings and love to you and everyone in the chat. Thank you, Destiny. Actually, it's a good time to say goodbye to everyone, too. It's almost 6:30. Man, I'm going to be going to bed in just a little bit. 2:30 comes awful early. So, thank you. Big thank you to everyone. Destiny, Eric Lapointe, Brian Lane, Chris K, UK Medic. I believe we had one more person come in. I don't remember the name. Oh, Tori. Tori came in asking about the cat. So thanks. Oh, and man, how could I forget? Our friend Noble was here spending some time. Always great. Hey, I do want to mention again, if anyone wouldn't mind playing a playlist, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to have the sound on. Maybe play it for whatever time you can spare on a spare device or another window or whatever. Working hard to get the watch hours in. And they're climbing up amazingly, quickly. So if anyone wants to help with that, and then do me a favor, let me know so I can thank you for that help. Guys, again, thank you. Everyone have a good night. I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing our burpees. We're going to go live. Destiny says, you're all the best family. Blessings, peace, and love. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thanks again. Brian says, yeah, and Eric, I may try it sometime. Thanks. Appreciate that. And by the way, A Kinship with All Life. It's a wonderful book. Take care, guys.